Hey there, good people. It's 2 days after the hurricane, and we've had power outages. Of course, this tree, one of the massive branches of this water oak tree, fell down here. Fortunately, it did not land on our RV like happened in the last hurricane, or we'd be in serious trouble. That's about the only damage that we have, is this big fella here collapsing here. So we're okay, but we don't have power, and we want to cook our burgers. So normally, if we had power, we would use this inline aquarium pump to pump the gas out of one of our bags, if we had a bag of biogas, or if this was full. This is almost empty now. And because we don't have power, we can't use the pump. The other thing is, this pump, even if we had power, it burned out, and that's because of moisture. These pumps are not made for handling moisture, and after a couple of years, they're gone. So unless you really dry your biogas, you're going to always be replacing these pumps. Another problem that we had was that this IBC tank biodigester, it cracked down here after about 7 years, 8 years of use. There's a crack there, so we're not getting any gas from there. But this gas holder, we put a feeding pipe on, and we were feeding it just before the hurricane a couple days ago, and we've got a little bit of gas, and so I've attached a bungee cord here coming over to there, and another one over there, and over to the other side. So I should be able to get some of this gas out to the stove, and I can close this. That's what was being fed by this digester when we thought it was working, before we discovered the crack in it. But we can open this valve here, and now I should be able to use bungee pressure to get this working. So let's see if the bungee pressure avails us. All right. It's beginning to come. So let's see. Maybe I have to press in to get the gas coming out. So I'm going to keep. Oh, there we go. Just soft flame in there. Okay, there we go. So we have bungee pressure gas, and it's not super pressure, but if I now put these burgers down here, it's hard to do stuff with one hand, right? And that's as wide open as we can make the jets, then I can cook our burgers here. So once again, the situation with this beautiful thing here is that we have the hose going over here. This floating tank digester has a 2-inch pipe which just fits down in the angle part of this, and then the food goes under here. This was rising, and we're using these bungee cords to try to get the gas out as much as we can. So that's the idea, that you wouldn't even need a biodigester like that one. You can have just the gas holder like this, but by putting a pipe down one side, as we've done here, then you can feed this, and if you're in a warm climate, then it will work as a biodigester, as evidenced by this gas in here, which these bungee cords are taking to here. So we're getting some good cooking now on the biogas from that alone, and that's pretty good. Pretty good flame. So if you're stuck and you can't use a pump, if you have no electricity because a hurricane has knocked it out, and you only have a single biodigester, the way to do it, and of course you need 2 to build it, 2 IBCs. If you do 2 IBCs and you put one rotated 90 degrees inside the other, that becomes a floating gas holder. If you put a pipe in that so that the food waste can go in to the bottom and halfway to the center, and if you put a hole on the other side here to drain off the excess fluid as the water level rises, then you have a functional Arty style IBC tank biodigester that is a standalone made of 2 tanks. And one tank could be a bad one where the top was broken, like this one, which we lopped the top off, and the other one is rotated on its side with one of the sides cut and then fed. Now in this case, we're also using this digester to give microbes to spill them in there, but it's working quite well, as evidenced by this grilling that we're doing here. And it's even that little amount of gas that we have there is enough to cook a meal, and we were able to get that in a day from a bucket of food waste. All right, so we definitely hope that you will avail yourself of this wonderful miracle of nature and encourage people to experiment more with the floating IBC biodigester, as you can see here. That is what you can do. Now normally I have, let me take this thing out. Normally I have this big gulp dust hood going in this 4-inch pipe, and I do my feeding of this primary digester and send the gas over to the gas holder. That's how it started. But then I thought to myself, well, why bother getting 3 tanks, 1 for this primary digester and 2 for the gas holder, when I can make do with 2 tanks and feed one of those tanks. So that's what we're seeing now. And again, it wasn't a lot of gas, but that's certainly enough to do a full hamburger meal. And I'm just keeping the camera rolling because I want to show that the gas is lasting for all of that. And there we go. All right, so there you have it. And I need to get to my crying child. But very good. Thanks for watching. And next time a hurricane hits you, hope that you'll have some biogas.